If you're watching this, then I'm already dead. This property comes with a special tenant.
Come out, wherever you are.
What is she?
She has the power to bring back the dead.
I found certain aspects that I didn't the first time around, but that is always the case with repeat viewing of movies. But for the most, like when I said I gave this a shallow grave rating, that's not an indictment against the movie. It's just a lower tier of an expectation or a film rating, but by no means is this like a trash movie. In fact, let me get to things that I think it needed tweaking on. I do believe that the movie could have been helped by, what's the word that I'm looking for? Definitely working on character. I think that, like, I don't know who these individuals are in this movie. And I always feel that it's important when you have a single location film. I very much am a big fan of single location films. But more to the point, I feel that whenever you have a cast of characters, a limited cast of characters, that you have to maximize on those performances and the character development and the arc of your of your cast. Now, this movie was well acted. I never, thought that any of the, like I said, during the watch, I never thought that any of the performances were like stilted. So, hey, my hat goes off to the actors in this movie. It's just, I don't know who these people are. The daughter inheritor, the best friend, the widower, the father. I could have used, again, with an hour and a half, you have to be able to maximize on that hour and a half to deliver interesting, relatable, if not memorable and iconic characters. So I think that the movie needed help in that department. I very much like the idea of a Faustian bargain. I mean, geez, they even had a contract with which that people unwittingly were signing their lives over with. So I could have also dealt with much more of who the family was or who the families were. Now, interestingly, this could have taken twofold. A, the families that had been the caretakers, the guardians of this creature, and B, like the original family. Like in this movie, they dealt with, like, I don't know, members of the church, the brotherhood, right? That could have been explored more. Like it was an actual family that condemned this creature to the bowels of the house. That could have been explored a little more. But the ingredients are there. The creature's backstory, and, well, I should say the backstory, and by backstory I mean the creature, the former owners of the house, and what I would have liked to seen in place of a brotherhood, have it a family or just a community of people that had condemned this creature down into the basement of this building. I would have liked to have seen more, how can I put it? More reveals about that, just not in a non-expositional type of way, to tell the origins of this creature, of the house, of the owners, of the family. I feel like this movie delved a little too much into exposition. Now, don't get me wrong, the story, the lore that they were building with the exposition was very interesting. I just feel like they could have used a little bit more finesse with the revelation of each of these details so that it didn't lapse into exposition. I do feel like the opening scene and with the father, I mean, they did expand upon it when the daughter had the dream of her father, that dream expanded more of the beginning of the movie. So you got to see what was going on. But between the videotape, the widower explaining what's going on, and the one of those former family members, one of the former owners that was the Guardian, just it relied a little bit too heavily on exposition. Again, I have no problem with the lore that they were trying to build. It was just the way that they presented these story beats. It just lapsed into too much of spelling it out for us. The creature, the Baghead, it screws with like the psychological torment is top notch. It really gets under the skin because it gets in the head of people. Those people who go to speak with dead loved ones, boy, when your time is up, this thing feeds on your torment, which, hey, top marks for that. The film did have clever use of CGI, with the exception of that one jump scare where you see like an old hag's expanded mouth shrieking at the Guardian, the blonde girl. The CGI was very well done. Like when the widower is speaking with his mother, and the Baghead reverts back to its monstrous form, and it's like leaning its face forward to kiss the widower, to kiss her son, and like the unnatural way that it's extending its head and neck were well done. The cracking and the reassembling of the finger bones when it first turned into the widower's mother. CGI is used very well here. It's not overindulgent. And when the new Guardian, the young girl, had the nightmare with her father, and her father's like pulling his face apart, and the Baghead is underneath, I have to imagine that was a practical effects along with CGI. So again, I salute the movie for that. And I do give the film credit because that ending, that was a killer ending, pun very much intended. How this contract that it signed over now has the Guardian and the Baghead now one and the same. I like how the ending finished off with both the contract and the bag head, or the bag sack over the face, are now burned to a crisp. So now both pieces of its former oppression are now done away with. I think, like I said at the end of the watch, I think that a very clever sequel, if Shudder or anyone is listening, I think a very clever sequel would be someone attempting to forge a new contract and the lengths that they have to go in order to get this genie back in the bottle. If you guys could pull that off, I would very much love to see it. You would have a horror critic waiting in the wings to see a sequel to this movie in that aspect. I never try to force an impression on a movie, and what I mean by that is I never try to claim that any film that I watch is attempting to make a icon in your monster. I'm not trying to say that they are attempting to create a franchise with it, but another quiver in the bow, another feather in the hat of this movie. You absolutely do have all the ingredients to make a horror icon, to make a worthwhile franchise. The contract, the hieroglyphs on the door, the pen, the creature itself, the labyrinth lair that it presides in, that slice of its own time period when it was condemned to that pit, the chosen guardian, the families, both the owners and the brotherhood, the need for this thing to devour personal items. The 2-minute rule: when your time is up, it reverts back from loved ones returned from the dead back to the Baghead. I like that it's kind of I was thinking about this during the watch. The creature itself is something of a reverse possession, where instead of a monster possessing the living, it's actually taking the form and the shape of the dead, which I find particularly interesting. That's something else that a sequel could very interestingly explore, where maybe the motivation of the now freed Baghead is to learn secrets of the dead, maybe those that, I don't know, had previously captured it or imprisoned it. If it goes around like searching their remnants out, devouring keepsakes of them, in order to like time jump into the last moments, the fleeting moments of these people, in order to learn their secrets. Just an idea. So those are my thoughts on Baghead. I maintain my my median film rating for the movie. I had it fixed though, or had it gotten more out of its cast and tightened up a couple of story beats, I think that this would be, it would have delivered. But from what I saw, I liked. I very much like the story. I very much like the monster. I like the concept of it. And I give this a solid recommendation. Well done, Shudder. So, now is part of the viewing experience where I give recommendations similar to the film that we've already seen.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
Make it a blockbuster, right?
So, as far as recommendations along the lines of this movie, I would recommend The Babadook. It very much reminded me of that. And I suppose Oculus, for the sake of, guarding something that has a history of death regarding it, similar to the Oculus mirror. As far as Shudder, you would be interested to know that as part of their halfway to Halloween, they will be releasing movies on the streaming service. So you be sure to watch Late Night with the Devil, which comes out in a week and a half, April 19th, as well as Infested, which comes out April 26th. So, mark your calendars and say your prayers. I've been Inkarnate, offering a word of caution. Fear the worst, so long you recognize who's best.
If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.